I finally got the chance to watch a show in Broadway, and I watched Hadestown. And it was so great that even before the show began, I started crying. But it wasn't just me. I wasn't going crazy. It wasn't just me. I know for a fact that everybody around me, everybody in front of me, beside me, everyone, they were also crying. That's how great the show is. Actually, that's how great the actor is. So I'm not kidding. We were really crying from the very beginning. I do need to explain that. Hadestown, according to Wikipedia, I'm trying not to spoil anything, so because to respect the narrative and the beauty of the theater, the play. So according to Wikipedia, this is an alternate. I don't know how much of Greek mythology you know, but Hades is the king of the underworld, and then Persephone is actually his lover. And then, so when he took Persephone down under to be with him, life on earth sort of didn't exist because she's the goddess of life. So as a compromise, they decided that half the time she was going to be on earth to allow summer and the blooming of the flowers and stuff. And then, but at some point, so this, and then the other characters are Orpheus and Eurydice, and then Hermes. Hermes is sort of the storyteller of in this whole situation, in this whole story. Now, according to Wikipedia, it tells as I've said, I'm trying not to spoil anything. It tells this version of an ancient Greek mythology where Orpheus had to go to the kingdom of Hades, the underworld, so that he could rescue Eurydice, his lover. All right, so I'll leave it at that. Now, it is the main character, one of the four main characters. So Hades, Persephone, Orpheus, and Eurydice. Eurydice is half Filipina, and her father is half Mexican and half white, and then her mother is 100% Filipina. And that's the excuse we're actually reviewing it here. But it really does deserve to be reviewed and to be recommended and to be praised because it's such a beautiful story. And then in Korea, it is playing now, and Orpheus is being played by Shumin. So if you ever get a chance, do watch it. I know that there are some EXO haters out there. I don't care. It has nothing to do with the fact that he's in a boy band. It has everything to do with the fact that this is a beautiful, beautiful story. So first explanation, why did we cry even before the show began? So the first thing that happened is that everybody, the supporting actors walked in and went into their places. And then Hermes came in, and I forget the name of the actor, but he is a 4-time or 3-time Tony winner. And so he came, he walked full of confidence, and then he went to his position, and then he unbuttoned his shirt, but there was his jacket, but there was a certain look in his eyes that said that it wasn't arrogance, it was victory, it was pride. And he was such a good actor that he did not have to say anything or do anything drastic to communicate what it was that he was feeling. And what he was feeling was pride. It was as if he was telling us, hey, we're back against all odds, against COVID-19. And just remembering it now is already making me so emotional. He made us feel that emotion, that we're back, we're here, we're celebrating art, we're together, we're appreciating art, we're honoring art, we're honoring literature against all odds. And we probably aren't even there yet, we're not fully recovered, but we're fighting, and we're slowly, inch by inch, we're winning. So against COVID-19, and it was just, he was standing ovation. That's how great he was. All he did was walk, look at us with his chin up, and slowly unbuttoned his jacket and looked at us with so much pride, and he just made us feel that. And if only for that, you guys need to experience that. I've never seen or experienced such a powerful performance. And so yeah, so that was that's why we all cried even before the show began, or right in the beginning of the show, even before anything happened. And then there's also another part that there were several parts that made me cry. The second part was, I don't know if I should be saying this, but there was a part there. But so if you don't want to know like any specific details or scenes, stop watching, because I'm about to, if you consider that a spoiler, then I'm about to say a spoiler. Okay, leave. If you don't want to hear it. So if you don't mind hearing it, then here it goes. There was a part there where one of the characters said, let us cheers for the world that we envision and dream of, and for the world that we're living in now. And given all the condition and the mood that Aramis already set in the beginning, that just hit different. When he said it, it just hit different, that we all started crying again. Me and everybody around me. So I'm pretty sure some other people in the audience were also crying because of that. But, and so those are and then the third one was when, towards the ending, when the big message was revealed. So I do know that Hadestown is, aside from being an alternative version of a very, very famous Greek story, more than anything, it's a story of how love is tested, and how the different ways on how love is tested. I remember somebody telling me the greatest test of love is actually routine. The greatest test of love and relationship is routine. When you know how love begins, romantic love or even friendship, actually, it's all exciting. You're trying to get to know each other, you're putting your best foot forward. You see this person in, made up and in their best possible look, and then you spend so much time together, especially if you get married, and all of those are stripped down. All the makeup, not just like the physical makeup, but everything else, it all stripped down, and you start seeing the person in their worst time and their best time. You see them when they're having diarrhea or when they're sick or when they're angry. You get to know the not so nice parts of a person, and you also get to know the best parts of somebody, and all of that at some point. And then you do it over and over and over and over and over and over again, and it just becomes routine that you get sick of it. And that's not even so hard to understand, because it happens to anything. Like if you, with your job even, it happens with your job. If you do the same work day in and day out for 10 years, it could get, it could get very, very tiring. And you just lose it. That sometimes that boredom, that routine, it blurs love. And that is that becomes the greatest test of the characters here. How do they survive routine? That's one. Second, the second test is trust. It's not, I've heard this many times, that the biggest test of a long distance relationship isn't the actual physical distance of the two people, or maybe three, depending on how many people are in the relationship. But the biggest test is the trust. How much do you actually trust a person to not mind, but survive the lack of visibility and the lack of tangibility of the other person in the relationship. And that was the test that one of the characters had to pass. And I will not reveal what happened, but that was How much do you really trust somebody to know that even in their anger, that there's still love? Even when they don't say it, even when they don't make you feel it, even when they're not doing anything, that there is still love. Because that will happen, you know, when you're with somebody for a really, really long time. There comes a time when you just don't feel important, and you feel ignored, or you don't feel the kind of love or happiness or excitement that you used to feel in the beginning of a relationship. But when that time happens, how do you really trust the other person enough to know that it's there? You know, it's there. We just need to trust each other that you will go through that difficult stage, and then you can apply that in any other situation when things are trying to pull you apart. How much trust do you have with each other to know that despite all of those difficulties, you're still in love with each other, and that there's still love? And then the last big test is pain. And I think this was I cried like a baby when that moment happened, when that realization happened. Can you love somebody enough to go through disappointments and pain and misery and loss over and over and over and over and over again, just as so it's not even to get the other person back, but to give other people hope? I know I'm being very, very vague, because I'm trying to, as I've said, I'm trying to respect as much of the narrative as I can. It was the character in the story had to go through loss, pain, misery over and over and over again, and he knew that he had to go through it over and over again, and he will never ever get what he wants. This is, I know that you're gonna think like, oh, you know, this is about Eurydice. It's not. It's something different. So he had to go through that pain, that misery, and that loss over and over again. And even though he knew that he will never get what he wants or what he wanted, he would choose to do it because he wants to keep others hoping, just to let others see the best of what we can become. So yeah, he wanted to show everybody the best of what we can become by reliving the worst of what he has become over and over again. And it was such it was really the first time that I cried and in a play. I've cried in movies a lot of times. I've cried in some basketball games that my favorite team lost, but this is the first time I've actually cried in the theater. And that's just how beautiful Hadestown is. Eva Noblezada has such a beautiful, beautiful voice. She has that innocence in her voice. Like when she's singing purely because of love. That's how it felt like. It was such a smooth, soothing kind of voice, but very, very powerful. And I can't, because she played it so great, I honestly can't see anybody playing it other than her. And Orpheus was great, but I'm pretty sure Shumin is going to be, or is already doing the role justice. So if you're in Korea and you ever get a chance, watch it, because it's such a beautiful, beautiful play and such a beautiful story. You will not get disappointed. Or if you ever get a chance to go to Broadway, New York, check this out. There's a lot of good shows coming out. I'm pretty sure that there's other shows that deserve to be watched. But put Hadestown on your list. You will not regret it.